Hey, what's up? Husman here. I'm a big fan of Transformers, you know, those robot kind of series, like movie series. I don't like it that much about the big drama story, but I really like it about the sound design, and especially the sound design that they create for those robots. So I thought, let's make some kind of robotic Transformer kind of sound for this week's tutorial Thursday. So this week, this is what we're gonna make. For this tutorial, we're gonna use Serum, one of my favorite synthesizers when it comes to complex sound design. For this tutorial, we're gonna go through two steps. The first step is the sound designing, and the second step is the sound processing and automation, which is a big factor in creating a sound like this to make it move over time. First things first, we're gonna choose some wavetables. So for this one, I'm gonna go for the bottle blower wavetable and for the alien spectral wavetable. Like in most of my tutorials, this is totally open to interpretation, but for this preset I really like those two combined, and I would really encourage you guys to combine different kind of wavetables and see where you can come up with. So on default, these oscillators are really thin, really mono, so we're gonna up the voice a bit to 2, and then we're gonna lower the detuning a bit so we get a nice, clean, wider sound. Now for oscillator 2, we're going to change the warp setting. We're going to change it to mirror because we're going to automate this later on to make it really breathe. And then we're going to enable the sub oscillator and we're going to put it on the same octave as the other two oscillators. Well then, that's all we need for the oscillators. We're going to go over to the effects, and the first effect that we're going to add is a hyper effect. When you enable the hyper effect, it creates some sort of chorus effect and it detunes it a bit as well, I think. So we're going to use this to enable the more chorusy feel of the sound. After the hyper effect, we're going to add some distortion. We're going to put it on the asymmetric or asym something setting. And then for now, we're going to put the dry wet all the way down because I want to automate this later on so it's not all the time full on distorted. The third and final effect we're going to add is a compressor. We're going to put this compressor on the multiband setting so you can really pump it up a bit. But then I want to put the dry wet a little bit down so we can still breathe a little. Now that the sound design is done, we're going to bring this sound a bit more to life, which I'm going to use an LFO for. I'm only going to use one LFO, and this will basically be the controller of the automation of this sound. So for this one, I want to gradually rise and then go down again. So that's something that we're going to write into this LFO, and this will basically be the pattern for all the things that we're going to map to this LFO. Now, as you might notice, nothing really happened. I've been talking about the LFO like it's some special thing, but it's not doing anything yet. Well, that's because we haven't sent any data to it yet. So first we're going to start with setting the wavetable positions of both oscillators to that LFO. So now you can see the wavetable starts to move and it starts to breathe a bit more. We're going to do this also with the warp position of oscillator 2 to extend the movement of the sound even more. As you can now hear, it already sounds a bit more like a transformer morphing kind of electronical sound. After automating the main oscillators, we're going to also automate the sub oscillator, the level of it, and we're going to automate the dry wet of the distortion. So when the sound is coming up, the distortion is also coming up and vice versa. Well then, that's the Serum work done, but we're not there yet. There is a great plugin in Ableton which is called the Auto Pan. It's a plugin that I use a lot when I want to create some tension, some movement, some wiggling about into my sounds. So for this sound I'm going to gradually increase the amount and the rate of the Auto Pan so that at the end of the sound you will create some kind of a stutter, which I think is a really cool effect to make the sound a little bit more interesting. And then lastly, we're going to cut out the high frequencies towards the end of the sound, so it's a really nice ending of the sound. And we're going to add a reverb to give it a bit more room. So that's a step-by-step tutorial on how I created this kind of sound, this kind of cool little metallic transformer sound. Now, if you want to have a little shortcut on improving the sound and using the sound, I've put the preset in the description, so feel free to use it in your own productions, improve on it with different wavetables, and let's see what kind of cool things you can come up with. For the people that want more of these kind of cool sounds, head over to my Patreon page where I'm uploading a monthly preset sample and MIDI pack with all kind of cool sounds that I've created. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, subscribe, and if you like what I do, hit that like button. It would really help me and the channel a lot. And then I see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye bye.